Welcome to Beyond the Veil, the channel that unveils the mysteries hidden between myth, history, and legend. Here, we explore what lies behind the stories that have passed through the centuries, because every myth has a grain of truth. If you too are fascinated by the unknown, subscribe and get ready to look beyond the veil of reality. In dreams, your body sleeps, but your consciousness travels. Who watches you while you do it? Today, we'll explore one of the most unsettling phenomena of the human experience, the entities you might encounter in the world of dreams. Mysterious figures who seem to know who you are. They speak to you, guide you, or simply watch you in silence. Who are they, really, and what do they want from us? In the world of dreams, we move through strange, surreal landscapes, often without any apparent logic. And yet, amidst this oniric chaos, many people report encounters with well-defined figures that don't seem like products of imagination. Unknown faces, but incredibly vivid. Presences that seem more aware than we are, as if they weren't mere projections of the mind, but something more. Some speak of recurring dreams where the same character appears again and again, even years apart. Others tell of entities that watch them, guide them, or even warn them. There are dreams where these figures speak, deliver messages, or ask precise questions. And what strikes people is not just the content of the dream, but the intensity of these presences. It's as if these entities were other, as if they didn't come from within our mind, but from somewhere else. We are not alone in recounting these mysterious encounters. Throughout history, scientists, mystics, and researchers have documented extraordinary dream experiences that are difficult to explain. Robert Monroe, a pioneer in studies of out-of-body experiences, spoke of astral travels in which he encountered conscious entities, some benevolent, others unsettling, that seemed to deeply understand human nature. These weren't ordinary dreams, but experiences where perception was more acute than in wakefulness. Carl Jung often discussed autonomous figures in dreams, presences that represented universal archetypes, but, in the stories of his patients, took on their own identity, acted independently, and sometimes gave answers to questions the dreamer hadn't consciously asked. Stephen LaBerge, through his research on lucid dreaming, showed how it's possible to communicate with figures in dreams and receive coherent, intelligent responses. But who is answering? There are also disturbing testimonies of shared dreams, different people, without any contact with one another, recounting the same figure, the same environment, the same message. Or dreams where a night guide accompanies the dreamer to unknown places, imparting teachings or warnings. But who, or what, are these presences that seem to inhabit us in dreams? Where do they come from? The possible answers are many, and they radically change depending on the point of view from which we observe them. According to analytical psychology, these entities would be reflections of our unconscious. Carl Jung spoke of archetypes, universal symbolic figures that live within the human soul. The wise old man, the shadow, the mother, the trickster. When these images emerge in dreams, they take form, voice, and will. They are not others, but deep parts of ourselves that reveal themselves to guide us, or confront us with what we fear most. In esoteric tradition, these presences are not internal, but external. According to this hypothesis, in dreams, especially lucid or altered ones, we cross the boundaries of our world and access other planes of existence. In these subtle spaces, intelligent entities inhabit parallel dimensions. Some observe us, others communicate. Some are benevolent, others indifferent or hostile. The dream becomes a portal, and we travel through it without realizing it. Finally, there's a more unsettling theory. In the world of occultism, there is talk of thought forms, archons, egregores, entities that feed on human emotions, especially intense ones. In dreams, when we are vulnerable and open, we may attract these astral parasites who disguise themselves as guides or familiar figures. They seduce us, scare us, manipulate us, to feed on our energy. 3 different visions, but not necessarily in conflict. Perhaps what we encounter in dreams doesn't have a single nature. Perhaps every dream is a boundary, and every boundary a passage. When we talk about dreams populated by mysterious entities, recurring symbols often emerge. Archetypal images that return, as if they were part of a universal language, coded within us for millennia. One of the most frequent symbols is the eye, an entity that watches you, or an eye suspended in the void, gazing at you with insistence. The eye represents consciousness, but also judgment. In many cultures, it is linked to divinity, to the truth that cannot be hidden. In dreams, it can evoke the sensation of being under examination, or being watched by a higher presence. Stairs are another powerful sign, climbing or descending. A vertical movement suggesting a state transition, an evolution, or a descent into inner depths. Many people recount encounters with entities waiting for them at the top or at the bottom of a staircase. Endless corridors, often dark or distorted, are spaces of transition. They are thresholds, between one room and another, between one world and another. When a figure appears at the end of a corridor in the dream, the tension rises. Who awaits us at the end of the path? And then mirrors. They are often portals or traps. They reflect something that shouldn't be there. Some dream of looking into a mirror and seeing a different face. Others recount entities emerging from the mirror to communicate or observe. What is striking is the universal recurrence of these symbols. Cultures that are far apart, from the Vedas to ancient Egypt, from Scandinavian folklore to the dreams of Aboriginal Australians, speak of the same signs, the same forms. As if there exists a symbolic language that precedes words and expresses itself in dreams, every time we cross the threshold. For many, dreams are fleeting images with no deeper meaning, but for some, a single dream has changed everything. A choice, a direction, even an entire life. There are accounts of dreams in which an unknown entity gave a precise piece of advice, an urgent warning, or a message so clear it seemed real. One man recalls dreaming of a car accident with vivid details, and the next day he avoided that route, saving himself. Another person speaks of dreaming repeatedly of a figure who spoke to her about a career change. After following that message, she found a new professional path she had never considered before. Some presences seem protective. Guides who appear at critical moments, speaking reassuringly, showing solutions. Others are darker. They appear during times of emotional weakness, feeding fears, manipulating the dreamer's emotions until they overflow into wakefulness. There are dreams so intense that they leave traces for days. And when the dream figure tells you something no one could know, you start to wonder, was it just a dream? The effect of these encounters is reflected in relationships, in the way we perceive ourselves and the world. Sometimes they push us toward healing, opening us up. Other times they generate confusion, fear, and dependence. Some find in these presences a spiritual guide, while others feel manipulated. In any case, the impact is real. Because what we experience inside, whether it comes from the mind or something else, deeply shapes who we are on the outside. Science has begun to take a serious interest in what happens in the world of dreams. In recent years, studies on lucid dreaming have revealed something surprising. It's possible to communicate with someone who is dreaming, in real time. In specialized labs, some subjects trained in lucid dreaming have been able to respond to simple questions. like solving an addition or moving their eyes in a specific way while they were asleep. Using EEGs, researchers have recorded consistent signals between the dreamer's brain and external stimuli. This is called bidirectional communication during dreams, a contact between the external world and the internal one, something that until now seemed impossible. Other experiments are exploring programmed dreams. By using sounds, smells, or light signals sent during sleep, it's possible to induce specific types of dreams or themes. But here, new questions arise. If we can program a dream, can we also be influenced by something or someone while we dream? The truth is that the line between dream and reality is becoming thinner. Neuroscience acknowledges that during sleep, the brain processes data, creates scenarios, and solves problems. But certain cases of intuition, premonitions, and encounters that seem to have deep meaning, often confirmed in waking life, remain inexplicable. How much do we really know about dreams? Not much. And how much can we trust what happens in those worlds? Science is starting to investigate, but the mysteries remain. Whether they are reflections of our deepest self, archetypal manifestations, or visitors from elsewhere, one thing is certain. In dreams, we are never truly alone. There is always someone who observes, guides, or tests us, and every encounter leaves a trace. Have you ever met someone in your dreams who seemed more real than reality itself? A face, a gaze, a voice that you can't forget? Share it with me in the comments. We might discover that we are far less alone than we think. And if this video has resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to stay updated.